Hi, my name is Warren Guru. Some people call me Uncle Warren. I'm in this space as an educator. I give one-on-one lessons. Check out warren.guru if you like tons of tutorials, free lessons, and also paid one-on-one to pieces. I have a community over 1,000 developers that are essentially grown, and I have a lot of good things that I bring to the table when it comes to joining my Discord. So please take a moment to do so. But in the meanwhile, let's jump right into this Bundle Academy podcast. So the question of the matter is really simple. The question of the matter is, how do people consistently cook up using bundlers, and how are they bringing in FOMO in? And out of all of these quote unquote JPEG images and shitcoins, how do you actually provide real demand so that people can actually FOMO and buy into it? Well, today I want to dive deep into CT trackers and also some of the ways that some of your favorite KOLs or bundler educators or particular people in the space are essentially consistently cooking up and making thousands of pounds, maybe millions of dollars. And some of these devs, honestly, are considering, well, the ways of doing it, quote unquote, the right way, just because it lets leverage for people to, if they wanted to, sell the positions, but still leave room for CTO, which stands for community takeover. This is honestly one of the reasons why a lot of the developers in the space hate LARP developers, because there is no room a lot of times for CTOs when it comes to LARP plays. It obviously varies depending on play to play or market to market or coin to coin, but at the end of the day, the simple matter of the fact is that there is a strategic way to be able to bring in foam beyond the sides of just bringing in money from wallets and seasoning them, aging them. There's other ways to be able to bring in that, and that starts with also the coin itself. So allow me in this podcast today to bring that to your attention and to teach and educate you guys on how this is done for verbatim in 4K. Let's go. How this is going to work for you and everyone moving forward. So basically, it's like this. Let's jump into the side monitors here. So when we talk about specifically meme in general, right, we want to know that we're essentially working down the stream of water, not against the stream. You don't want to go against it, because it's like more money, more that you're going to spend on marketing just to get FOMO into the contract, when you can simply find an already working existing either community or just a pipeline of just information that people are coming to that they want to buy in. You're simply providing a demand already before it happens, right? Or while it's happening, essentially. So let me show you what happens when it comes to this. What I've did is I've created some monitors here that are literally going to work for specifically devs more in general, not for traders. If you go to some different discords, you're gonna see trader like monitors, and you'll get confused. I made this so that way it literally is for you guys. So I'm gonna show you how this works. So I use it myself. If you said to say for yourself, okay, I want to launch something today. I don't know what I want to launch. I might want to clone something, for example, right? You only have two options in this world. You either A, clone, or you B, create something of your own, right? If you're creating something of your own, you're like, Warren, I got something of my own, then we can have that conversation. But from my understanding, from just talking to you, it sounds like to me you're going to be a cloner for a few bits, right?
Okay.
I mean, I'm just asking. Do you feel like you're going to be more on the clone side? Because some of the people come to me and they say, I already have XYZ products already laced and ready to rock and roll. They're new. You seem like to me, I don't get that energy. I'm thinking that you're going to come in and clone a lot of stuff just from the beginning. I mean, what's your thoughts? Just want to kind of get a sense of where to
My
take it.
thoughts are like it would be probably a combination, and I don't really understand like the degree of owning.
Okay.
Me,
Yeah.
it means the most popular or the most trending thing, and then you just copy that.
Yeah, and it's a little bit more, a little bit of metrics behind it, and we're gonna go into this all the psychiatrics of that, so that way you have an easier way to basically get FOMO. Because at the end of the day, once the launch happens, you don't want to start. A lot of people ask me like, how much do I have to do in volume, or how much do I have to do in, this and that. And honestly, you don't necessarily should have. You shouldn't have to do very much of any volume. If you have the right meme and you are sending it to the right community, it should be of its own. You're just positioning yourself in the beginning to grab the floor, and then be able to have a control to sell whenever you need to, even if it means limiting out a certain markups. You see what I'm saying? But with that being said, let me go into the first thing first, which is the 10-minute meta. So basically, how this works is every 10 minutes, this particular server here that I have in my internal Discord will give you the last 10 score levels for the metas that are being played out. So like, let's say today, if you're like, hey, I want to drop some shit right now, what can I drop? And all of a sudden you go on here and you're like, oh, fucking, for the last 10 minutes, there's been some type of egg meta. Like, you don't know this shit. You just dropped in and you're like, you're just thinking, what the fuck's going on, right? And you're seeing there's like literally 28,506 transactions. And the total volume for the last 10 minutes was about 13,000, 13,000. I don't know if that's Solana or if that's in dollars, but, or if that's just in general, how many transactions has happened. But at the end of the day, it's a lot of volume that's happening in this particular sector for this particular meta. It's also justice and dogs up there, as far as dog meta is, justice meta is an egg for today for the last 10 minutes. So, with that being said, if you're in the mind state, right, of particularly creating a meta or literally even cloning a meta, it might be advantageous to kind of go in the streamline of where transactions are happening more often than others, right? It just kind of gives you a little bit of a mathematical leverage on everything, just having this understanding. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the first thing. Then after you jump into that, you're going to get into your volume. So you have essentially daily volume, hourly volume, and 15-minute volume. So now that you know a particular meta that is maybe towards your liking, which is essentially the category that you're going to particularly put together, whether it be again, whether it be a new or cloned, now you can tell yourself what time of the day. 'Cause a lot of times people ask me, Warren, what time of the day should I launch? And another honest answer to that is that just depends on the monitor. It could be literally sometimes 11 o'clock a.m. New York time is good time, but that doesn't happen every day. So I just like to give proof to the madness, which is essentially showing you literally logistics of analytics behind the scenes so that you know when it's time for you to drop. So if you are like, you got the meta already and you're in the process of launching, you're like, all right, well, should I launch right now or not? And you look at the last hour, for example, of volume that's happened and said, okay, the red looks like these are going up. The blue are like significant going down. So if this one's going up, oh, there's a shitload of red. The mark is up right now. I'm gonna drop right now. But if you see a whole bunch of blue, it's like, oh, probably not a good time to drop right, at least in this hour. you know, it just gives you more understanding of leverage to use to your discretion. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Beyond that, you also have the ability to use these CT trackers, which is very powerful. Now, I just got a meeting with a whole CT developer team, by the way, that's already integrated into my ecosystem. We're just in the process. Actually, they're texting me right now, but they're in the process of just trying to figure out how we can work together, and like the community, like such as yourself, could come in and say, okay, you know what? I'm a particular dev. I deal with X, Y, and Z type of meta, so I want you to develop me a custom tracker that it has this, and I want these trackers to be on Twitter, I want them to be on X, I want them to be also on Instagram. So no matter what, if anybody's talking about quote unquote egg or quote unquote Trump or whatever you particularly are wanting for your particular ticker, will show up in your Discord immediately, just like you're seeing these general grad monitors, but it's more of a customary situation. You see what I'm saying?
Okay. Yep.
So essentially, what's happening here is once this is happening, you have volume on actual pump fund, but the 10 metadata gives you the general information as far as the category of where the actual volume is coming to. But we got to dig deeper now. What we got to do now is we can actually find the actual community, whoever it be, CNN or whatever news station it be. There's some type of platform in the world that's dropping something right now or towards your particular meta that will be basically advantageous to either drop a Twitter, drop the project and drop that as the Telegram, drop the Telegram as the Twitter link. So instead of having the community CTO link or the actual project link, it goes to that particular news media. So people are essentially driving the price up just because now you're the only person in the space that's now monetized that particular conversation. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So now we get into specifically things called CT. CT, I have two of them right now. Again, these are essentially they're really good trackers. I actually are syndicating from two really, really good places that I'm paying for, so you all get it for free. But just do know that the way it would work is, let's say hypothetically speaking, let's say we see Trump right now. If you want to do Trump meta, you would go into the CT tracker here, or you can just go into the Discord in general, and on the top right corner, or if you're on your phone, you type in Trump, right? And once you do that, it'll pull up all the data that's in that particular tracker that's pertaining to that Trump or keyword that you chose. And at this point, it'll give you information such as like, all right, this is how many tokens. So this is I mean, this for example, not tokens. This is what's going on in the news media. This is how many, this is happening. You click on it. Essentially, this is real relevant information. So theoretically, you can continue having narrative to your already pre-existing metas that have pre-existing volumes. This is all kind of coming together in a sense. Like you see how this is all kind of coming together.
What I don't understand is why is it so important to
Sorry, say that again. Why is it so part of what now?
why is it so important to pick? So why is it so important to say that the matter is going to be Trump and that's who I'm with? Why is that important? Why can't it just be different all the time?
I kind of breaking up a little bit. I'm trying to understand what your question is. So you said, why is this important for specifically either Trump or something like that?
Are you saying for a particular launch, like a specific launch, to pick the meta, or are you talking about like you
I,
know?
I'm saying to essentially find projects that are going to give you potential volume because they already have demand already in them.
Oh, so you're talking about just the one launch, right?
What's that?
You're talking about just the one launch.
Yeah.
All right, cool, fine. So you're saying you do all this research into the trending coins, and you can look at the volumes, you can look at,
Right.
and people are buying.
Right, and also just another thing too. When it comes to specifically these trackers, especially these CTO, the CTA, KOL, and the real time Dex trackers, what you're trying to do with that essentially is not necessarily launch, but you can find real community here. So if there's real paid decks, there's real CTOs and real these have real Telegram with people in them. What happens is for example, I have a shield team. For example, my shield team has about 20 to 30 people. They literally work in Africa. They live in Africa. They work for like literally $10 a week. I kid you not, per person. So with that being said, all they're doing is there's a bunch of kids probably that have cell phones in Africa that literally can go on TGs with verified Twitter accounts and that literally can be in the narrative of whatever conversations that's going on. So in this regard, what you could use with this is, let's say, for example, methyl right here. We're looking at this one right here, right? And we know that Dex is paid. If I go into the TG and I see that it's actually a growing community and that's something that is actually being done, what they're probably 9 times out of doing is rating. And if they're rating, then essentially my shield team gets forwarded every single rated post that goes into that particular TG channel, and it gets forwarded into my raid team. And then when they shield that particular coin, we're shilling our TG exit liquidity group in that same narrative. So that way they're pushing already our push. And then we're like literally getting members to join our TG that's on something outside the token that's being pushed anyways, because they think it's an alpha group, but in reality it's just another group for me to drop the CA product to any other pre-existing group later down the road. Does that make sense? It's like reverse psychology. What was that?
It's a lot of psychology in this.
Yeah, did that make sense though?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, and that's honestly a lot of times what's about DeFi is figuring out how to work around the entire longevity of, like, for example, Twitter and Google. They don't allow you the possibilities to do, like, obviously ads, just due to the fact that there's a lot of scam nature to it. So you basically have to do a lot extra, but it all makes sense if you're able to work in the favor of these trackers that are helping you with the data points in the first place. Now, honestly, to be completely frank with you, I'll be a shame a teacher if I didn't teach you both sides of the fences, because my job is to basically be as non-biased as possible, and so I do have to give you the other side. Which the one side, they don't like the other side, and the other side hates the other side, but I got to give you both of them so you're kind of understanding. So this left side just talked about, these are basically base quote unquote devs. Whether you dump on the charts or not is up to you. You've provided essentially a narrative that's already has volume to it. You've done your R&D, your research and development, to be able to bring a substantial market cap to that project, for the fact that you did that work. No one else did it. People are looking for particular projects that are in that particular manner. You're the one that creates it. Now, the opposite side, however, is what we call LARP. Now, LARP devs, they don't give a shit about fucking anything meta wise. They don't give a fuck about technology. Their whole idea is to essentially create a narrative and potentially make it a whole lot role play situation where it's not even real. I'll give you a good example, okay? One of my students, again, this is just how some people go. They either go the left door or the right door. But one of my students decided to literally go and have his Uber driver do a LARP like role play scenario where he was going to, before the camera start rolling, essentially he's a verified account on Twitter, so he has the ability to do a live stream. So what he does, he starts a coin and he does a live stream called an Uber coin, and then he takes over the Uber car driver like he like basically like almost what's it called? Make it look like he's what's it called when you look at that stream and people doing shit illegal, like he's hijacking a car basically. You know what I'm saying? It looks like he's hijacking the shit, but really it's all planned out. It's all fucking, you know. You don't think of it as the viewer. You don't think, oh shit, this guy's planning this shit out. You're thinking, oh my god, this Uber driver's in trouble. This guy's got a gun. He wants to mark up the guy. It's a LARP. It's a LARP. You know, it's all live action role play. And the reason why the left side would hate the right side is because the left side is going to get money fast. They're going to get, it brings a lot of tension, but at the same time you're bringing in a whole bunch of unnecessary let's just say it's not the correct word would be, it's not illegal, but it's looked down upon society as far as it being ethical, so to speak. How about that? Okay. But at the end of the day, these plays definitely are very, very volumized because the snipers are realizing that they are the ones to blame too. They're trying to get into positions because they see that these guys are doing ongoing live action, and it's causing people to come to the contract and retweet and, you know, virality from to come out of it. One of my guys, for example, just I'll let you talk about one of the guys. He after he did that one when it comes to the Uber guy, he did the same thing with a homeless guy. Literally a whole live action role play where this guy was homeless, and then the next thing, like, people start freaking donating, not donating, but buying the coin, and the next thing rugged at 400K. But I mean, this is just the size of things. You have essentially the guys that are coming to monitor, so they're gonna go behind the scenes, do your own research, to fund their wallets correctly. They're gonna use Houdini swap, and then they're gonna bring something to the market that essentially has already sustainable value to it to buy into, which, because it's coming from data points. Or you're gonna jump into the live action role play. You're gonna be Steven Spielberg in the DeFi market, basically.
Okay, cool.
Does that make
I
sense?
probably would. I probably wouldn't do the. I probably just want to, yeah, more planned out.
Yeah.
For me, like, you know, I don't have a community, bunch of people what I'm doing. Volume is gonna my play for now. Few friends who want to do it, but that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah, the community thing is one thing, because like I said, when it comes to, like, for example, even these trackers, you can find the community. It's sometimes not a matter of dropping, like, for example, um you'd be surprised, right? Like again, another a reverse psychology thought process here is joining a community that already presumptuously exists, and then creating a clone token of that exact same token. So when they are in the process of raiding, all you're doing is having your shield team drop the CA of the actual clone and not yours, not theirs. You know what I'm saying? So the community part does not necessarily need to be presumptuously yours. It just needs to be in your reach to direct and narratively different marketing directions. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And half the goal essentially is having the education to understand how to even use these tools behind the scenes, because I just had them created not too long ago, and so I just am slowly but surely kind of walking through people on how to do it, because the cookers, they're already doing this. They're just liking it. They're already doing it. They're already knowing how to use it, and then they're saying, oh, it's free information out there, but no one's teaching them how to actually use it to be able to apply to the actual bots that they get. You know.
Okay.
Now,
All
beyond
right.
that, what I have here, just to let you see here, is I have essentially the Discord open, but I have the my Penguin tools here. I just want to give you like a base setup of how I kind of rock and roll with my setups, right? Um, and I just did this FAFO coin here. I can see this. It's a pretty interesting feat here. But basically, how my situation works is a lot of people ask me like what I think about meme tools and stuff like that, and to be really frank with you, I use all of them, honestly. The thing I do is this. So I'll give you a straight play scenario how my whole thing works, and it's up to you. And that's why I've been kind of basically giving more and more information on YouTube on basically people if they want to do the TG route or have their own setup, and even if they have their own setup, there's even like different routes to go with that. So like for example, right now I'm on a technically on a thing called a BM, and it's called a bear. Excuse me. A bear system. The spare bear system allows me to essentially have a dedicated situation where I'm not sharing it with anybody whatsoever when it comes to just either connectivity to the internet or even just the computer in general. Now, if you're dealing with a VPS, which I think you currently have, right? You have a virtual private you're with Sauce, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I don't have a VPS.
Okay, so you have a LAN, right?
What's that? I don't know.
It just LAN means on your local area
Yeah,
network. Okay, so I would recommend you either getting a VPS or a dedicated system. Now, basically, what it is a computer that is closer to mainnet, closer to Solana, whether it be Virginia, whether it be Frankfurt, or there's even there's like what's called Tahoe now, Lake Tahoe, which is Utah. There's Utah now. But anyways, you need to get something that is close to them so that way you can work at speeds that are comparable. Now, let me show you what I'm working at right now. Let's do a speed test together, actually, so that way we can have actual real life case study if you can. Are you able to go on your computer real quick and go to speedtest.net?
sure.
All right, let's race. Let me know when you hit go. I'll hit go. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go. I'm going. Let me know yours after you see my screen.
Second.
Yeah, man. So basically, like, this is what happened. So like, there's um this okay. Let me give you a full perspective here. Okay, so one of the reasons why I feel like I love my job is because I'm able to sit here and give the education that's needed because people like yourself jump in with bundlers with a particular setup that you currently have, and then you essentially become entry liquidity to other snipers that are already presumptuously looking for you to come in basically with your tail between your legs because those bundlers are not educated to have this understanding. They're like literally sitting on the mempool waiting for you to come so that way they can take your liquidity. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, thank God you came to me first. So the first thing first is you got to get yourself in a vehicle so that way you can run at optimal speeds like the one I'm working at now. It's not too hard to do. All you got to do is get a 40 to 50 gigabyte port. Not in your own computer though. You got to get either a VPS or a very minimum a VPS. Right now, I'm working on a BM, which is a bear, which essentially a bear is essentially a VPS, but it's not shared. I don't share this computer with nobody in the world. It's literally somewhere in New York City that I own. I don't own. I rented, but I basically bought like 3 years up front, so I don't think about the bill no more. But it's just mine, you know. And there's a problem with it, then it's only my problem. I gotta like hit up the server and people on site to fix. But that's the difference between a VPS. They essentially have the same, protocols as far as like capacities, whether it's like this speed or that operable processor, or but you're at the end of the day sharing it, and you're dealing with multiple wallets. I got to the point in the game now that I'm like, you know what, I can't have any type of PvP, even if it's lack of other people bottlenecking the server, making it just erratic. I need to have
Oh,
a pure line connection.
so just a question. What's the actual impact? So a sniper could get there before you. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so essentially what happens is this right here in the middle, what you're seeing is orange. It's a sniper. I actually, that's the great thing about being me is like I'm working with both sides. I'm a educator on the sniper side here, and the snipers technically don't like the bundlers don't like the snipers, but theoretically you can use a sniper to snipe your own project. And the sniper tools have these things called pump it APIs that essentially are connected to basically ways for you to determine whether the bundles are fraudulent or if they're coming from CXs that are looking like they're potentially bundled. So I use this as a way of again productive, where it's like if it fires into my contract, then I know that it's not blacklisted, so I can essentially kill the contract before it even starts if I not get too much energy to it if I know that my sniper ball itself is not firing into my own contract.
Okay. So
But I was
Again,
oh yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I just really want to, because we got around 20 soul to
Okay.
start off, and
So
we want to just get going. We've got a few ideas around like trying to build more following across different accounts on X. We got a few ideas in terms of actual issues.
yeah,
But then in the meantime, we do want to do some clone, like you said, cloning.
yeah, and also what's going to happen here is just to kind of give you another perspective of the cloning process. Let's go to this one right here, for example, FAFO. I'll copy this right here, and I'm gonna go into my Telegram here. I'm gonna actually this is gonna be set up probably the next 24 to 40 hours. It's the only thing right now that currently is not fully activated on my Discord server, which is if you go to the CA checker right here. What this is going to be, just so you have a 411 on this, it's going to be an integration with Telegram. We have this bot called Cyrix. We can open it up real quick. It's actually in the free tools in my Discord too, but I'm just trying to combine the words. Oh, here it is, Cyrix. Okay. So yeah, this Cyrix token scanner, what it does is let me paste in the CA real quick. And so from the Discord level, you and all the other users that are one-on-one graduates are going to be able to communicate with this bot from the Discord, and you'll send the CA. It'll just communicate with this, and it'll give you right here all the information that you need. For example, the dev created 4 other tokens. There's this name. There's 21 other tokens. That means that you can know that it's been cloned 21 times. The website is this name of 2 other tokens. The Twitter Telegram is the same as 15 other tokens. So they kept the same Telegram. What that means, by the way, just let you know this game of how this works is sometimes when you clone these tokens, you're essentially creating at that point too that the same token exit liquidity groups. So you don't come in with volume and you come in with very little with transaction fees and get like 10, 15 people to come into TG. You don't got to kill the group off. You can continue to run the shit up and just run it as a loss leader for actual gains of real people that got into your TG. They may or may not bought, but they may buy later. And that's why people are using the same TG. And they're just changing the clone up and just changing the TG to be the same. See what I'm saying? There's different tactics that could be happening with the cloning process. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's. But then, what would in terms of just like looking at our approach again? And so, because I really want to come out of this call with just like a feeling of, okay, right, this is what I'm going to do next.
Yeah. So I would definitely go in any type of clone. Well, first of all, I would start with the meta, right? Start with the meta and figure out what type of water volume, like the top 3 metas out right now that you feel like, okay, not just you feel, but the numbers prove it. That's in my Discord that shows you where that is. Now, once you got the meta, then you can start to determine like keyword now, because you have the keywords in your hands at this point. What meta, what memes feel resonate with you more, right? And then once you find that, you can copy the CAs in them and start to actually go behind the scenes and figure out if they've been cloned, if they have been cloned. Sometimes, and by the way, I've gotten to the point where it's even after you got the CA, these two are crazy. And this is why I'm just going to do another video on how to use this. But basically what happens is once you got the CA, all right, cool, this is the CA, this is the meta, this is the volume. We got all that information. Now I know how many times it's been cloned, how many times the Telegram's been used, how many times the X been used. Now I'll go even deeper. I can go to the X checker here, right? And I can put in the actual, for example, sorry, not the X checker, the web checker. And what it technically should do is it's going to give us the market cap of that actual coin that was cloned, or at least the highest market cap it ever reached. So if only, let's say, 300 people clone the token, it'll tell you out of all 300 people, this thing's only reached, let's say, 200,000 market cap. So if you go off a Ray at the 100 and you're at 120,000 market cap, you probably want to get the fuck out because it's probably not going to get higher than that. Or it might, but at least you have some numbers to work with as far as your actual endpoint.
So what conclusions are you making from the fact that a particular coin has been cloned multiple times? Are you saying that if it's been cloned multiple times, it's very popular? Are you saying
it's not necessarily that particular coin is popular? It just may be that particular meta is, and so because the meta is essentially robots, or sniper rifles, rifles like for example this one right here. They have all their robots set on AFK. away from keyboard. So if you want to get in as much FOMO as possible, especially with like Solana being down, you might as well be in the stream of where these snipers are pointing their rifle guns at, basically.
Right. So that's the bit that I'm not connecting at all. So what you're doing is kind of just go into a field where there's a lot of activity from bots.
Yes. And that will cause humans to buy more, because once you buy the floor, the bots start basically competing with each other because the meta and the metrics are right, because they're all they're going is all the metrics. If they're going to be AFK, they have to. They have no other way to go off of anything else besides profitability is metrics. So all we're doing is basically feeding what they want. You know what I'm saying? Basically, regardless of the market, they're going to be fed.
Okay. So shouldn't we be following that?
Yeah,
That
that's what
data
this
from
is
the
right here. This coin that was put up right here. This fuck find out and fuck out. Literally, it's because Elon was doing some shit, and boom, we sent it, and then like Leo said, boom, boom. It literally is because again, the market, the data was matching all the things that relevant to made the shit coin actually to have demand, and not just like long term demand. We know what it is. It's just short term demand.
But then, so how much was that first trade? Because if you look at doesn't that make a whole lot of noise?
So what's that? No, what do you mean?
So that first trade that you made in the chart,
right?
Was
So
that
basically, essentially, the what you're looking here is 1 second chart, by the way.
yeah.
But from the point of it, the 36,000 market cap essentially is where the bundle essentially stops at, and then from that point on,
how much was that?
35.9K is where it stops. So how much Solana does it take to get there? You saying?
Yeah.
Right now, I believe like 60 SOL, 50 to 60 SOL ish.
Yeah. Okay.
The market changes on Solana's price. Like when that shit changed to like 180 the other day, like that's why I don't like whenever the market goes down. I actually love it because it's like you as the bundlers, you get to buy way more of the floor compared to when it's like at 250 and shit. You can start to become more and more like ETH once the price gets higher and higher and higher. Not from a transactional volume, not from a standpoint as far as like transaction fees, but more from like a positions where the actual floor starts at. But right now, yeah, we're starting about like 3,000, 4,000 market cap because of where the Solana price is at the moment.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, with that being said, a lot of products that drop, you're gonna get into a point where if you do your own, or either you or someone else just does the due diligence for you, so that way you have all these products presumptually waiting to rock and roll after having all these key metrics kind of in a way. That's how you're able to simultaneously drop continuously projects and essentially run the same rinse and repeat jobs as far as your Houdinis to be able to have a good pre-production. But you have to have all this kind of data and lining. But again, that's only if you want to go that left door, which is or right door, whatever you want to consider it. Basically, is just a regular dev. Whether you drop it within 2 minutes or if it's two weeks. Sometimes things in meta, for example, if let's just say hypothetically speaking, right, we had this conversation prior to Trump and the minister of Ukraine having that conversation online, right, on TV, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And let's say you already had this education in your mind, and so you had everything ready to rock and roll. You had either VPS nodes, you had pretty much like high house set up. You have everything ready to roll. So I can literally right now jump into my Discord and like go here and I could just start trenching. And I'm even by the way, just FYI between you and I'm actually working beside another company right now, partner company called Lambo, right here, Lambo League. And we're coming off with custom CT trackers that'll hopefully, I'm crossing my fingers, but I just introduced them to the dev of Penguin, and I'm hoping that they're going to work a deal where once the feed comes in, there's a simple button that will simply webhook that directly into your actual Penguin, so that it mitigates any type of copy and pasting. You can just basically have already the JPEG in there, and boom, all the information you can just launch, pretty much,
Okay.
And so yeah, with that being said, you being able to launch, and then you also in the process of doing these things before you even get to that process, having all these clone projects that have this same TG group, because you're essentially building more and more of an audience with it. Regardless, these guys want to trade regardless, And it's funny because a lot of times when they jump in these groups, you'll be surprised they stay in them. They don't like these CTO groups of all the times, like from
Yeah, but then like this is the bit I'm missing. So you're saying to clone a group, and you're saying that these people stay in the group. When I go, and what you're saying is to go into those groups.
Well, the keyword is not the group. Actually, you want to do a channel. That's the keyword. So when you want to link it, you want to do it exactly, because the channel is going to allow you to have control of narrative. You can literally remove all the bad emojis from it, and no matter what happens when people get into the channel, they're locked in because they're just a one syndication, and it's an indication rather just a P2P.
Okay, but then what I don't understand is they join the channel, they get dumped on.
Yep.
Why would they do it again?
Well, I'm gonna tell you something here. Actually, I'd rather just show you, because proof is believe it. A case study is believe it. Watch this. You would not believe how many times. Like this is one right now. Go to EXO. This is a group that gets dumped on every single day for the last year. I kid you not. I kid you not. And it is what it is. Now, the guy who was part of this group, he drops CAs like it's nobody's business, and because he has control narrative of all the emojis, he essentially they don't know. People are coming in and they think that oh, it's so and so's project, or oh, it's so this comedy, or and also let me be frank with you. There's another marketing tactic that you're kind of also forgetting. In the trenches, specifically in Telegram world, it's very normal for people to go to specifically portals before they actually get indoctored into an actual channel or group. So what happens is they go to a particular portal to be essentially making sure that they're not robots. That gives like a captcha, so to speak. Are you familiar with it?
Yeah.
Okay. So what happens here? This is where you can actually bring some marketing to the table, to the world here. You can use something such as, let me show you something here, a little trick. For example, are you familiar with Cameo?
Oh.
Okay, let me show you some. Cameo.com, I like to consider it like exitliquidity.com, but depending how you want to use it, it's how you want to use it. And these are essentially celebrities from all sides of life that literally, to be completely honest with you, are just poor now. And they have nothing else to do but basically charge services between like $100 to $200 for advertisement. So for example, if I wanted to, let's say, get like a celebrity like a reality TV or an athlete or comedian or a musician like Kenny G, a Mark McGrath from fucking Sugar Ray, and I wanted him to say something. I could put a script together. I could have a ChatGPT do it. I could have him say, "All right, guys, these guys are actors. They're literally chess pawn pieces, literally. So all you need to do is give them essentially what they've been used to doing for the whole entire career, which is reading a fucking script. So I have so many different groups out there that have these actors that say, all right, guys, we have a great team. This is a great project. The team is literally going to send this to Wahala, guys. I need you guys to hold on. They're literally just reading a script, and it's all put into the portal of the Telegram. So that way, once they get in there, when the bots get killed out, and then the humans see this now visual piece that has no indication that it comes from a Cameo, because you've paid the privatary rights for them to remove it from a public side of things. It's only between you and that person as a contract. And now they think that this person essentially is either part of the team or leading the team or somehow indoctrinated. Now they don't know what to believe because they're normies, and now they can barely even run Discord. They're just wanting to get in and trade. They've seen all these people make money. Now they see a celebrity face indoctrinated into a Telegram. You know what I'm saying? So that's how, and you can switch these faces left and right. One day it could be Mark, the other day it could be the other guy. You have full control of this narrative as if it was like fucking digital Squid Games.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Cool.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. So
maybe
I've seen some of these group channels, and I've seen that they do this stuff every single day. I guess the thing is, how do they get people into that channel in the first thing? I've always kind of wondered. And what it sounds like is you're saying go into other projects, join those telegrams, and then drop your CAs. on
Yeah, I
them.
mean, it's really up to you. You could, and when it comes to the narrative of the group, you don't have to completely just jump the game and do your projects or all the rug projects if need be. You can like, I know some people in the game, they literally are signed up. Let me show you another one actually here. This is not a shill. This is just reality. So this thing called Alpha Hub, right? This they literally like have a shitload of fucking trackers all over the place, and there's people literally left and right just copy trading and like essentially sniping from Discord sniping from these rooms from like for example uh digital meme calls, whole chats, high risk gambles to freaking devs burnt. These are all different rooms that are essentially FOMO rooms, basically. And every time you go into one of these things here, it's an automatic robot that's going to drop CAs of that particular niche and already pre-filtered for anybody to literally just snipe into. And so, the reason why I'm bringing this to your attention is because when it comes to literally just telegrams in general, you can literally, for example, if I'm in here, if I am, can do a let's say a 2 hour or 3 hour delay, right? Every time this shit hits, what's gonna happen? It's gonna hit my shit in 2 hours, an hour, 30 minutes, however I want to. And guess what I get to do? I get to brag about it of how everyone was late because it was a 3x. And theoretically, it was because it was called at what blah time, market cap, and that was, it shows on the market cap. But guess what? You think you got in late because, but in reality, I had the information from the jump and I just passed it along and gave time to rectify it. So you stay in the group hoping to get that better play. In reality, it's my shit that should be. You see what I'm saying? How this is all coming together here?
Yeah, so what I've seen is that a lot of people in
You're like,
groups
damn, that would happen to me.
I've seen a lot of people basically post old projects. Is this what you're talking about? So they'll post actual winning or free, 10x coins and then say that they were the
I'll show you
coins that
some
they were
right
promoting.
now that are in Telegram world. You're talking about, I believe, the X world, right? In a sense, right?
No, I'm talking more Telegram.
Oh, you are? Okay. Yeah, then yeah, we're the same world. Oh, yeah, exactly. There's literally plays here that, yeah, exactly. They'll go on there and they'll say, all right, guys, this is a play. And then next thing you know it, you got in and it dumped on there. And then you say, hey, and then you post later down the road, it was a 4 or 5x. I called it here. In reality, the call
Yeah, it
happened
wasn't.
and it wasn't the call. The call was syndicated 3 hours, 4 hours later. But you think because of whatever happened, because of time, and maybe you in your Telegram phone later, you think that you could have got again. And it's building more communities because then no one's to blame. You're not coming as the dev. In reality, you could be the dev on the particular projects that are for your pockets. You're essentially just syndicating these so that way you could titillate the group and keep them essentially kind of on their heels to kind of quote unquote trust you, so to speak, by the number.
I hear that. I do hear that, but I find like getting the actual community into your group. That's the bit that I'm missing.
Oh, well, as I'm saying, once you the meta, as I'm saying, the meta is the which part you're missing. You need to first start there. The very first portion of everything is you need to first go to and find out what's eating. And what's eating is, well, for now, right now, let's say if I go to my Discord and I go to my meta monitor, boom, 10-minute meta. It'll tell me, for example, right now, the last 10 minutes, Insure and Justice is two metas that are essentially sitting really crazy right now for the last 10 minutes.
So then what do you do here?
So now I would essentially go and I would find a meta that's in the CTO that's towards that particular meta. And if I wanted to, I can grab real quickly, if somebody was on Cameo, a person to talk about that particular meta. So that way, if it's always a daily hitting, like Trump's kind of on the thing now because he's the president, he's consistently going to be in the top 9, 10. So it might be advantageous to go get a celebrity to sub with this whole Trump meta. Like, hey, I'm a Trump dev. You might see me on blah blah blah. I'm gonna drop this on my blah blah blah. It could be old footage, but essentially it's a script. At the end of the day, you've lined yourself in that meta now to gather people in that community that want to trade within that meta.
Right. Okay. Fine. So you basically, you choose a meta. You choose the areas that you want to launch. When you say meta, just so I've got terminology.
Category.
Yeah. Fine. So then you choose which category you want to be launching your coin in.
Yep.
You then do something like go and get a celebrity to build messaging on that category.
Yeah, that would be
Um,
ideally because you're branding essentially you're branding it in a way where even if the celebrity could be branded in a way where he's not even the dev, he could be branded as he just a trader. He loves to be. I'm into coins now, guys. This is my new alpha group. Like honestly, they'll be probably more advantageous to approve that because sometimes they can decide they don't want to be a part of the deal and just not like do it. Well, they'll probably be more advantageous to do that deal rather than say a CA particular drop or anything, and it'll give you longevity with that group and brandership. Honestly,
right. Okay. So basically, the Cameo will then bring the people, and then you've got people in the Telegram.
yep, yep.
Fine, and then you go through them.
Bada bing, bada boom. And then literally, once you got a position where you're like at very little, like 300-400 people, like literally you're finding yourself dropping metas, and they're essentially okay with that gamble because they're all in that playing field to that particular meta stream, anyways. You are doing the work for them to chasing those waterfalls because you have created a stream that has a volume of analytics behind it. It's its own sub micro Web3 casino in its own right.
Mhm.
Period.
Okay, interesting. All right,
So
so
you're like, damn. It's like after I look at the metrics, like this shit gotta add it up.
yeah, it's. I mean, I'm just more surprised because what I'm trying to do is more think of, all right, how can I launch every single day, right? Um, I want to launch every single day, have some small wins, but then have those, you know, projects maybe every week, once a week, where I'll do like a bigger one, or when there's been a little bit more of a lead up.
I got you. No, I feel you. Another thing too is if you have people that essentially don't mind quote unquote diamond handing holding like small positions, right? And this is also another way of doing it by either building community either from the outside of 2.0 world. I'll give you an example. Like this is a crazy thing, but it does take some time and effort. But when it does go, it goes. Currently, right now, as we speak, there are ads on Google, YouTube, that is, and they're advertising ways essentially on how to make money, but they're giving it a position where it goes to a page where there's a video and then there's an email. And those ads are definitely scrutinized very highly on Google, but they're kept eye on them. But you can get them approved, okay? Because they're not talking about crypto. What they're talking about is specifically just making money, right? Now, behind the scenes of that particular email goes into detail of essentially holding a position that's essentially like they're offering them, hey, I'll turn your $50 into $100 type shit, right? And they're saying if you hold this, if you do X, Y, and Z, you send me for example, this is the idea. You send me 2 Sol, right? Which is whatever that would be amount in the dollar amount of that. So let's say we're talking about USD, right? For
Yeah,
so let's say it's hypothetically 150 per Sol, so $300. So you send me $300, and then I will go ahead and give you $150 worth of tokens. And you're gonna have to purchase the tokens. You just gotta hold it for 1 day, and it's gonna go ahead and blah 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 blah. And it's technically what you're essentially doing theoretically is created a way for Google to bring you a whole bunch of extra liquidity by them being diamond hunt holders of low positions, but at those small market caps, $50 times like 200 people. It not only if you think about the PvP that's already going to happen on it, and not to mention they're going to be holding the floor regardless for 24 hours, causes some noise, you know. And they might get the ROI back depending on the situation, the meme, and what you do, and depending on how you do as a developer. So there's always things behind the scenes that you can do that's outside the realm of just specifically Telegram, Discord. You can even jump into those worlds. You just gotta be done in a way that's very delicate.
right. So this is what my plan was to do more X engagement. So I was going to create
Nice.
a bunch of accounts, have bots just recycle content from other users or from other channels, some other accounts,
Yeah.
build up a following, and then you know basically just launch out the CAs in sync with each other.
Yeah.
The channels in sync with each other.
Absolutely, that's definitely advantageous. I think that's in the right path of it. You just got to make sure, though, beyond that, um, the way you're doing with the CX thing, when it comes to Houdini swap and like taking the time to privatize the transactions, and also individually within the Penguin individually, funding these wallets, and not doing the lazy route of robotics, just like really helps in the long run with everything, because the last thing these snipers are looking for is just room for error, a little small room for error, just to get in and get out. That's it.
Fine. So I can set those things up. Then once I've actually done the launch,
Yeah.
and I've done the bundles, let's say I've got like 20 wallets, 20 soul is out there.
Uh-huh.
And then what am I doing? That's the thing that I find quite interesting.
So like basically how I have my setup, I'll just give you like everyone has their different play, right? And how they have their home setup. I'll just give you like a little rundown on how what I do in mine, right? So on the
Mhm.
left side, I have essentially my launcher. This is my deployer, which is essentially Penguin tools, and I'm able to see, of course, my main wallet, my my funder, alongside with all my wallets at the same time. Now with this, I like this to use this as a deployer specifically because one, I mean, I do am, just to be completely frank, I'm like basically cahoots with the CEO, so I know, like at the end of the day, we don't trust nobody, but I do know him to a certain degree where I could talk to him like a phone call, whether it's like the other guys, wasn't able to do that. So I feel kind of comfortable in that regard, right? But beyond that, I do like the fact that this one particular software, unlike all the other ones that are currently out that I've seen so far, allows me to have the vanity token of the CA address before anything
Yeah.
else before it deploys. And that's a very, very huge for me because in my world, what I'm going to do is specifically when it comes down to the new products with these college coins, begun jumping into the conversation with these sororities and these fraternities, and like literally already placing their hands to the CA before it started. All I got to do is go home and hit launch, and that's very powerful because they are really easy to share the information. They're already doing like different type of floats at school and type of shit. They're like half kids, half like adults and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so it's like a perfect situation. But so boom, I launched the coin. Now the thing with it is, um, I personally don't like to put my hands into, this is me personally, but I don't like to put my hands into one bucket. Now, presumptually, these wallets like that I have, if I have 10, 20 of them, they're supposed to come in with me. But I've been in situations with students where sometimes when they come into position, only out of 10, maybe 7 only came in, and the last 3 didn't. And I want to be, honestly, I really want to make sure that when I'm working with anything product wise, if I tell a client, for example, I say, hey, we're going to get you about 20 different wallets and we're going to distribute the supply of XYZ amount, I want to make sure it happens hands on or hands down. Like, I don't want to be like, oh shit, like I'm gonna have to cut off my funds, if we're just to build a long lasting relationship. Because at the end of the day, being a dog's figure, I'll be able to be put into conversations with, oh yeah, Warren, he just launched Las Vegas coin, like for the colleges. Let's go ahead and hit him up to ASU. He's a trustful guy, blah blah blah. And it'll be easier for me to just jump from one city to the other to do that. But everyone has a different tactic essentially, as far as their marketing. But for me, boom, that happens with the bundler. Once it comes in though, I definitely have the ability to sell at a particular market caps and limit my positions internally within Penguin. But for backup purposes, I do have Neo Bullocks here as well, just because I'll have my at least minimum 10 wallets set up. That way I can tell the wallets to go to, like, I can do a limit order, like sell, limit here, and then literally set up a limit order at a particular market cap so all 10 wallets exit out no matter what, because I don't want to be in a situation where I know sniper tries to take up a crazy amount of supply and then just dumps on it. So if the floor starts to eat up slowly or to a point where I can control the limit, then so be it. But the limit's there in case someone tries to act stupid. You know what I'm saying? Which is a good thing for you because they just try to take your whole supply and then really you limit the shit out of them.
Wait, do you mind just explaining
Yeah,
how that
what
works?
limiting is.
Yeah, so you're talking about the snipers coming up and taking up the whole supply.
Okay, let me show you that exactly. Let me actually show you that for verbatim. Matter of fact, let's show you that. Shout out to Nutrix, but like that, this is actually happened in his video. I have it like in my Discord for case study purposes, just so we can see it for verbatim. because it was recorded in 4K. So these guys, I'm gonna name them because I know them by at least one community that does this. They're called Mintech. They're Mintech snipers. And let me go to it. Let me go to Garage Chat. Hold on. And help you just the Garage Chat. Okay, here we go. Garage Chat, and we're gonna go to grad school. Okay, in grad school, we go all the way up here, and we should go to here. Yep, I can't still use my right. So I'm gonna show you this video here, and it's a quick, like 1 minute video, but this is gonna give you a perfect example of what to expect in the market. So this is what happens. He goes ahead, he deploys. Market cap goes to about 19, 20,000 market cap. It's starting to rise a little bit with FOMO, with different buyers coming in. 21, 22, 23 market cap, 24. Next thing you know, out of nowhere, it gets sent to 96,000 market cap. This essentially is 1 or 2 wallets coming in, buying like a heavy amount of a supply, and the purposes of basically ruining your project and ruining you for making money because they seen it as you did it and not, you know, not the other way around. So in that regard, in order for them to break even, they usually have to come off like 26 to 30 soul off of migration, and as long as they meet like 40, 50, 60 soul, they immediately dump the whole shit, and then your project looks like a long like red dick going down. You know what I'm saying? And no one wants to buy into it. So to be able to mitigate from this, first I will show you what happens. So let me show you the visual representation of it from a visual perspective, and then we'll dive into real quick on that what you can do to like pretty much punish those particular wallets that do that. So we'll watch this. Shout out to Nuo for showing this footage. So here's it right here. So he comes in and then basically drops his project. All right, I don't need the music, sorry. And then market cap is at 18, that's there, 19,000, 13 point, 27, 90, boom, 96, and migrated. Literally, that's all real time, no editing. So then he starts showing how he starts to sell his positions. But I wanted to show you within the matter of like literally, what was it, 5 seconds or less, the project had migrated. And what happens a lot of times is it only takes a very quick amount of seconds, because I'm gonna tell you what happens. Like in the back behind the scenes, I'm gonna show you another community just so you have your education here with you. Solana Scripts, they have this script. This is just all education purposes, multi-wallet distro, and these guys amongst the other guys, which is in the what's it called, the Mintech, I just told you, Mintech group, they have these powers, and I don't know, it's money is power. So when you have knowledge to get these tools, it is what it is. But what it does is it comes in with 2 wallets, and they literally distros out to 108 wallets simultaneously without bubble map detection. So theoretically what happens is once the pump fund, if we go back here to Bullix and we're looking at pump vision, if that project is yours and particularly just graduated and it's showing, let's say for example, the holder distribution at like, let's say for example here, 100 or 224 right here, right? You might have just started the project and you might have only came in with 24 holders because you got 24 wallets. All of a sudden, this one guy just fucking took your shit. 2 wallets came in, distroed out, made it look like 200. Now sitting on fucking graduate right now with all these buys coming in. And low key, sometimes what happens and what triggers them to do that, to be completely frank with you, is some guys, they're not even aware this shit's going on, and they're gonna pay for decks like literally at like the 5,000-6,000 market cap. And when they do that, you're literally giving someone a green light to say, "Oh shit! Once this shit hits, it's already paid, so we're gonna get FOMO regardless." You know what I'm saying? It's a PvP game at this point, you know. So in order for you to protect your floor or protect your high ceiling, to be honest with you, it was just technically protecting your floor too. You would need to essentially have limiters set up, and I show how to do these on different episodes, but I'll show you real quick how that's set up. So basically,
So let me just understand this. So when you go, first off, the migration happens at what point? What's the point you get migrated?
that is literally around. Well, it changes every day. Let's find out today what it is. I think it might be around 60,000 or something.
Volume.
Pumped
Is
up.
it just a certain amount of volume?
But no, it's the bonding curve. That's when it migrates to radium. So, for example, today the bonding curve right here is 60,000, 60K.
60K. So that's how much volume needs to be.
About 60,000, 60, 70,000. Yeah. Right now, you can see this one's about to go right now. This one's market cap. Well, listen, it might be fucking a rug, but there's a lot of shit going on right now. It's my contract. It's sending right now though. Whatever's happening, new baby panda. But yeah, with that being said, yeah, it's eating away to get to bonding. See, once that green thing goes past that, then it migrates to radium.
And then when it migrates to radium, I mean, is there any downside to that?
Well, when it migrates to radium, then the coin is now seen on to more people's eyes.
So
It gets shown at like a lot of different. So, for example, in the Telegram world, there's literally like a chain of like advertisement. For example, Solana early trending has 80,000 people in there. Finest trending has 37,000 people, and there's another one I know that has like over 200,000 people in there. And what happens is people are literally paying like 2 Sol to get advertisements to literally tokens that are on Radium. And so that's why you get all these FOMO buys coming in, because especially when it comes to you as the dev, you coming in, like I said, it goes back to the very beginning of everything we said in the beginning, coming in with the data. You coming in with the data and what got it there to begin with, they're happy to be in the contract because for the fact that you found something in the CT world, the copy tracker world that meant something. And so they got they got a shitload of early positions in it. And now the reason why shit goes to multi-millions is because now everyone's just catching on to it. That's the whole position of literally a real project compared to a LARP dev, which is just going to dump and there's no existence of any type of liquid exit from that point on. Or even CTO. You can't even CTO a LARP.
what's CTO? What's CTOs?
Community takeover. It's when the dev like literally kills the entire project, and then the community rises and basically holds a position, and then basically pays for such as like Telegram, but things like I just showed you to basically shell that out to multiple different people, and bring the market cap to higher and higher. When you have a LARP situation where someone just takes advantage of people and basically dumps on them, it's hard to simply get in the community back involving that because everyone now just lost in money, and then now there's no way to essentially, you know, build. At least with this, even if you dump on a chart, being the dev, people can come back together and say, "No, we believe in the new panda." There's no LARP to it. There's literally, what I'm saying? There's literally a community could be formed to it. So you could literally have situations where devs lose after selling on 1 million, but then they shot it up to fucking 75 million because the community was so bullish to it. Even though the dev, made like 60k, the fucking community made 600 or 700k. So
Yeah,
it is what it is. But in that situation, fucking K is a K. You don't give a fuck. You're on to the next project. You know what I'm saying?
you are a bit pissed if it goes up.
I mean, at the end of the day, you're pissed. You might as well become a trader. Your whole thing becoming dev is not to be emotional in the first place, and just go by analytics.
Yeah, I hear that.
Bada bing, bada boom.
All right, cool.
Yes, sir. Hopefully, that
So
was a lot of knowledge for you.
yeah, man, I have to
Yes,
give it a
sir.
go. Do you think this last thing, my approach, the X accounts, the engagement, and then the synchronized like dropping other CEO across different accounts with a lot of followers, and then combine that with what you suggested, which is trying to jump on different categories of meta, and then just trying to catch on with different communities. Do you think that's enough?
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, like, if we want Solana to be around for a minute, like, we want to be able to send projects that essentially is going to have some type of monetary like value to them, even if it's shitcoin. So, like, even with this like newbie panda shit, like, what happens is when you do find something that's right for you that works, you're gonna get a whole bunch of people that's gonna clone it, and then it can still provide value to the same people that are already in your current existing meta, as far as your current existing subreddit, your current your niche, your sub niche, which is what you want. You want to basically create yourself a sub niche as soon as possible so you can continually delivering to them that, because that's what they want.
Right.
Voila.